Do you want to move that, or are we going to face that way?
Well, we're ready to go. So I convene this meeting of the town board of the town of Queens. If you join me for the pledge, we'll face the flag that's behind us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. We have 3 announcements tonight. The first one is the Evening on the Green performance by the Allman Brothers Tribute Band at Geralman Park at 6 p.m., and that's on the 2nd of July. The town offices will be closed on the 4th of July. And night class announcement is we have surpassed 200,000 in our participation in the night class liquid assets account. So the town fund balance has increased by $200,000 since September of last year. Approval of minutes, everybody. Oh, also all members are present and accounted for. Approval of minutes, everybody got their minutes from July 12th and had a chance to review them?
June 12th.
Oh, I'm sorry, June, yeah. Long week. And I'll make a motion to accept them into the record.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those are accepted.
Do we have to do anything with the minutes from the joint meeting from June 11th?
With the village,
Yeah.
I think we already...
We never have in the past.
Okay,
Just going along with consistency. All right.
that's fine.
That brings us right along to the supervisor's report. General fund balance forward for May of 2025 is $377,956.91. Receipts of $61,273.26. Disbursements of $197,169.69. Balance of $212,032.42. Night class earned interest of $13,053.43. Consolidated fund balance forward $655.02. Receipts of 3 cents and a balance of $655.05. Part town fund balance forward $69,274.25. Receipts of $7,693.69. Disbursements of $24,091.69. Balance of $52,876.25. Earned interest of $5,604.17. Highway part town balance forward is $157,612.37 with receipts of $182.64. Disbursements of $48,841, the balance of $108,994.60 with earned interest of $1,618.23. Highway town wide. There's a stamp right on that. I can barely read it. Highway town wide is $49,000 balance forward, $49,121.84. Receipts of $20,000 with 44 cents. Disbursements of $57,831.51. Balance of $11,290.77 with earned interest of $419.80. Sewer balance forward $188,761.58. Receipts of $51,380.67. Disbursements of $46,731.62. Balance of $193,410.63. Earned interest of $730.07. Trust and agency balance forward $28,872.21. Receipts of $225,155.56. Disbursements of $227,336.82. Balance of $26,690 with 95 cents. Police forfeitures remain at 0. Capital projects balance forward $4,000. $360.94, receipts of 4 cents, disbursements of $100, and a balance of $4,260.98 with earned interest of $111.61. Section 8 HUD, balance forward $7,308.84, receipts of $66,858.48, disbursements of $66,168.53, balance of $7,998.79. Total reconciled balances, $618,210.50, with total earned interest at $21,537.31. Savings account Grove Cemetery at $928.64, earned interest of $108.71. Queens Hollow Cemetery, $546.80, earned interest of $10.85. Alcove Cemetery, $320.97, earned interest of $58.71. Total savings account $1,796.41. Total earned interest $170.27. Bank of Greene County and National Bank of Coxsackie, FDIC coverage for $250,000 and collateralized at $563,474.36. Make a motion to accept. Oh, hang on a second. Night class remains the same as reported. We had a withdrawal from townwide DA for $20,000 for bills. Make a motion to accept the supervisor's report into the record.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
So just for discussion purposes, I see that this supervisor's report was prepared on June 16th. It was stamped on June 16th, but I don't have a signature on my supervisor's report.
Okay, I have one on mine. We can get you a copy. All in favor?
Aye.
And this one, give us the clerk's report, please.
Town clerk's report for the month of May is the A fund, which consists of the C funds for marriage license, transcripts, MBA reports, water penalties and collections, easy passes. What's a total of $8,780.77. In the B fund, which is building and zoning fees, mobile home permits went out this past month. Total was $5,832.50. For sewer rents, penalties, and interest, we collected a total of $858.94. For a total local shares remitted of $15,472.21. New York State Ag and Markets received $37. New York State Department of Health received $45. And New York State DEC received $1,235.97 for a total non-local revenue of $1,317.97 for a total state, county, and local revenue of $16,790.18. Sewer bills for the month of July are going out as we speak, so they should be hitting mailboxes probably this weekend. And this one isn't signed, but this is a copy. We both did sign this, and I have my signed copy if you need to see it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Make a motion to accept the town clerk May monthly report as submitted.
Second, discussion?
Just for discussion, why aren't signed copies in our folder in preparation for the meeting?
I haven't had a chance to sign them, so they were sitting here waiting for me, so.
I know, but you don't typically sign these the night of. So
Not typically, no.
Yeah, so I'm just
It hasn't been
wondering.
a typical week, yeah. So we'll get them signed and we'll get copies to you. I actually just made a note to myself to email signed copies to the board.
Usually Mr. Fazio makes copies of them once they're signed, like
Yeah.
he I think he just temporarily forgot to do mine, but he signed mine on the 6th, I handed it on the 4th. So it was signed, and he just came in today needing a copy, so I wasn't here, Cheryl gave him the blank.
Gotcha.
I can't tell you anything about the other one.
Okay. Thank you.
Further discussion?
I'll second.
No, Mr. Donnelly already
Oh,
seconded.
she did second, I didn't hear him.
All in favor?
Aye.
Report is accepted. Chief, if you wanna take us away with your report?
Good, thank you. Good evening. Cleveland Police Department for the month of May 2025 answered 728 calls for service of the town and village, resulting in 17 criminal arrests. The police department also affected 191 traffic stops and issued 81 tickets. There were DWIs in May. No personal injury accidents. We did investigate 5 property damage accidents. I remind the board and the public that we have a certified car technician now on staff who is available to offer training for car seat installation, which is apparently a complicated thing nowadays. They change, they expire, who knew? But he's available. We'll also try and have him at some of the upcoming, maybe the Friendship Festival we were talking about, and also the block party. I'll see if I can have him hopefully be there for a while. And also there's a medic kiosk located in the lobby of the police station here at 18 Russell to dispose of unwanted prescription medications. It's available 8:30 to 4:30 every day. So, everybody has them. Everybody's got them. So when you don't want them anymore or need them, bring them down and safely dispose of them. It keeps them out of the treatment plant, among other places. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chief. Just to update the board and the public on the cameras that were installed over the weekend, went in and let David Bahone and his employee into the new town office buildings, and they installed 2 cameras on the east side, the north and southeast side of the building.
So speaking about that, there was a criminal mischief done to the new town hall at the old community care center, 524 Route 9W. The back picture window. It's a double pane window, and the outside pane is broken by, it looks like ball bearing, slingshot or something, and but it did not penetrate inside, and so we have installed cameras now, and so that building is protected. It is being recorded, and just like the Geralman and the landing, it's a big addition. So it's all being consolidated as we go forward with our ability to surveil places, our property.
Yeah, and I had Fazio, my secretary, reach out to your office and Candace's office, because we use state tel here just to see if that was adequate, because I think it will be going by your experience and your needs to have high-speed internet at the new offices.
Yeah, Dan and I were talking about that, and they're arranging the internet.
So I reached out to him, and he said it's there. So I told him to go ahead and turn it on, but he said somebody from your office had reached out as well.
Yeah.
So it would be $35 a month, which is no problem. Same as, we all get.
So they just add it to the contract. We don't have to authorize payments or.
No, it'll be another bill like we voucher get. So
So
just knock it on the town hall, no big deal. But
they give you a date on that?
no, so you ask Fazio,
Okay.
Mr. Fazio, excuse me. Yeah, he's a great kid.
There's too many Stevens, and I just call him.
But he said Tyrone Coleman is my contact at the state.
Okay.
And he said somebody from your office had reached out, so sounds like they're ready to go.
Great. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the police report from May 2025.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
For discussion, so Chief, the cameras are up and operating even without high-speed internet?
Yes.
Okay.
Right now,
we'll have to
view
view them remotely.
Review the DVR. if
Right.
needed, but yes.
Yeah,
You can't log in from your
Right.
phone.
yeah,
So once the internet's connected, we'll be able to remotely look at them.
awesome.
Reach out again.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jason, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Building Department report for May 2025. Permits issued this month were 13. Certificates of occupancy or compliance were 9. 1 operating permit. We have 1 fire incident. Fire inspection on multi-dwellings were 4. Fire inspections on commercial buildings were 4. Fire inspection on vacant buildings were 2. We had 7 building complaints. We had 53 building inspections. 3 permit renewals. Trailer park annual fees are $2,230. I did collect from the 3rd one, but that will be in June, on June's report. Building fees for the month were $4,942.50. We had one area variance. Zoning fees were $100. We had 5 property searches, and miscellaneous fees were $500.
Make a motion to accept the building report into the record.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Jason, Mr. Shimeleski, looks like it was a busy month for the month of May.
Still is.
We collected almost half of what the yearly total is just for last month, so.
We have a lot of houses going on this year. I'm very surprised. More than normal since I've started.
Yeah. Okay, well,
This is a good thing.
that's good, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Sure.
But yes, busy.
And you said there was one fire notification?
Yes, fire incident.
What was that? Do you recall? It's okay if you don't. I don't mean to
Yeah,
catch you
I'd
off guard.
have to,
Okay.
I could send you an email.
I'll call you tomorrow. Yeah, okay. That's all that I have.
Too many things to remember off the top of my head, there's a lot going on.
I was gonna ask you, what do you attribute the increase for?
I am not sure.
Dawn question, probably. All in favor? Aye. Report's accepted. Hey Keith.
Board,
Good evening.
Good evening.
so this is the month of May, for 2025. We did 26,927,000 gallons going through the plant, an monthly average of 0.869. So just a little over our permit level is, so, we were, pointed, 8.2 is our permit, so we're a little over, but not a big deal. We removed 68 tons of solids out at just under 14%. Removal rates were 93 on both of them. We had 6.47 inches of rain in the month of May. Really to the high flows and stuff like that. And we had expenditures of $28,224.16. And just a little update, like I said, with the pump station at Riverview, we had a little problems there, up and running. It was just the floats, a little condensation in all the connections, so they weren't operating right. It just took over time. So they came in and they had Evans come in, called them. I was all by myself, so I just said, here, call them. They came down, they changed them, and everything's working good. Where we are there.
Just an update, right before I came into the meeting, I sent an email out to Charles Fillion from OCR about the narrative of the lift station and basically the imminent non-function of it. And I just wanted to double check with you. I know that you got that there were like debris and masks around the floats.
Oh, yes.
What was the reason why it stopped working the other day?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
You know, they were just, the condensation where the wire connections are and stuff like that, just over the years, they just got corroded and that. So, but no, but that does not help having masks and stuff like that.
Because it was that super humid hot day, what do you think sort of had a trigger?
It could, I don't know if that's it,
Well, I just wanted to let you know that we reached out to him, so we are waiting to see what the response is to see if we can move ahead. So we're tabling that the lift station for now.
No problem.
So just keep in constant contact with us.
Okay.
But we're not tabling the bid, are we?
No, we're not doing anything.
We're not gonna do the bid resolution either?
Correct.
Oh, I thought it was just a CBDG grant.
Yeah, no, I think on the other one, the state has given us verbal assurances or indications that we could proceed sort of on a quasi-emergency basis, but we really, in discussions with LaBerge, we want that in writing. And so the supervisor sent a request to them to confirm that, and that once we have that, we'd be in a position to accept the bid. I don't want to have you accept the bid if then the response back, once he kicks it to higher ups with the state, is going to be, well, maybe not, so.
Well, we really need to get that information ASAP, because knock on wood, you know, we're lucky that this was just a float issue and Keith was able to get it up and running through Emens, but, I mean,
Yeah, it's just a little
I hate
scary.
this, I hate the idea of just keep waiting and putting Band-Aids on, and, you know, we have a bid that had just come in, and
Right.
I understand that we're in the you know, the process of having a grant application and all of that, but I don't want issues to, you know, come up.
I was just gonna say, from a legal perspective too, if we're not going to accept that bid, we really want to reject it, and so, and explain.
And I don't know that we want to reject it yet if we don't have all the information.
Sure, and so we'll put it, you know, hopefully off for another 2 weeks, and ideally we'll have heard back from the state by then.
Just Candace, that was the only one we got, right? The other company said they didn't do grinder pumps, so, you know, chopper. So they didn't even want to put one in, because they can't supply the pump.
Yeah.
So they were out all right off the top. And then the other ones never submitted it.
And, well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know, if a pump did go down, how long would it be from the time you called to order one to the time it could be installed? What's that lag time?
8 to 12
8
weeks.
to 12 weeks?
Yeah, it's not, no, there's nothing sitting on the ground, you know,
That's why-
that's why it's like, you know, it's like, even now, if we signed that today and I sent it back to them, it's, you know, it's
2 months out at least.
you know, nothing, yeah.
Did you ever hear of the bucket brigade? That's what we're doing.
You know, I mean.
Other than the fine print of the town council.
I was, you know, I just, you know, it was like,
Yeah.
you gotta figure out what's going on, you know? And, I
Again.
figured out what was wrong, I was like, I need, you know, to get somebody here to do it for me, because I just, you know,
Sure.
by myself, so. I was like,
That's my second question, Keith. I know last meeting you had somebody resign from your department. Have we seen anybody being rehired since?
We're doing.
It's tonight, right? Okay.
Have somebody at least be
again,
able to.
That's seasonal, right? Like,
Yeah.
do we have a full-time person that?
Just to mow grass for 2-3 days a week, you know, just to cut, and if I need him to, like, I got a couple doors on it hung, he can help me hang some doors, you know, he's handy, so he's so good to have around, so he can do other things. You know, because it's only 3 days a week, but it's like 3 hours a day, you know, for 3 days, that's it. You know, just,
But do you need somebody, you know, on the sewer department's payroll that is skilled to do the job in case Keith's on vacation or?
well, yes, I mean, I understand that, but that we're in the process. you know.
Okay.
Is there any compliance issue with us only having 2 full-time people down there?
No, no, it's just, it just makes it rough on us. I mean, Ty's away for 10 days, it's just me.
Yeah,
He's gone,
so now
so,
it's just you.
yeah, that's it. So I'm just gonna hold down the fort, and like I said, Nelson will come in. Danny asked if I needed any help, he would send somebody down to help me out, so, you know, that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna piecemeal it, and
And what happens when you get hurt? Or,
I don't get hurt. That's all. Hey, knock on wood, I don't
Okay.
get hurt. You know, I don't get, you know, that's why, I wasn't gonna come tonight because I keep coughing and I didn't, you know, but I wanted to at least discuss everything that was going on.
Thank you.
And you're going on year 16 doing this.
18.
18.
I think it's
Congratulations.
17, 18, somewhere around there.
Just to clarify the timeline, when I sent the email to Mr. Fillion from OCR, I got an automatic reply that he's not back into the office until the 2nd, which happens to coincide with the meeting that we're going to have with DEC and LaBerge. So hopefully we can get that moving. So that's kind of where we are with that, and that's going to be the day where we get the most of our answers, and we may have to have a special meeting. So just kind of keep that in mind. Don't go to Spain.
Did you post the job yet?
We just did it in-house and I just got one from out the highway and
Okay.
I actually reached out to one of the guys that was there previously, back when we hired Mr. Purity, and asked him, because he was gonna become a labor slash mechanic guy for us. He was really interested, but then he never called back, you know, never contacted back. So I reached out to him to see if he was interested in this job. I have not heard nothing back.
what are the qualifications required to have someone?
Really none. You just gotta realize that you're gonna have to go to school for a month after you've been here a year and a half or so, once you get to learn the process and stuff like that. You have to go out to Morrisville College for about a month. It's 2 weeks, then it's a week, and then another week, so they break it up. And then once you pass those courses and everything, then you come back and you take the ABC test, and if you pass that one, then you become a licensed operator. But it's a lot to it.
Sure.
It's just not like, you just drop into it, you gotta be good at math and the equations, there's a lot that goes into it, so.
Have we passed the 10-day in-house deadline that we
I
can?
think we're right around that point, I wanted to see if Linda could check to see if she was gonna reach out to John Farrell, see if there's anybody on the list from, not you. Linda. No, okay, sorry, did it wrong, Linda.
Bruno.
So, yeah, so see if there's anybody off the list from the state. And stuff like that, so we are, and then we can put it out in the paper, probably just by Monday maybe.
Alright, I know somebody, I'll pass them your way,
Okay.
and,
Because I'm gonna reach out to Steve Grimm, he knows a lot of sewer plants, see if there's anybody floating around, somebody south of us that could come.
It's a poor choice of words.
I make a motion to accept the sewer report for May 2025.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I ask all in favor.
Aye.
Hey, Dan.
Good evening, everyone. So just to piggyback on that, I stopped down and met with him today. I instructed our deputy and with Keith, anything goes down, he needs any help, any labor, we're gonna jump in and we're gonna help him out, whatever he needs, labor-wise. Deputy Farrell worked down there, so he kind of knows what goes on, so Keith gets in a jam, Mike will be dispatched down there, okay? So he gets up and running, and we'll check on him.
Yeah.
Okay.
appreciate that.
Starting out with the town halls, I gotta get in the habit of adding number 3 for town halls. So the first 2, there's nothing to report. Town hall number 3, the new town hall, we have started mowing and weed whacking that. It was on my list to talk to you about the internet connection, so that's underway. And I'll reach out to Tyrone again to make sure that that's gonna happen. Moving on to our garage, our busy garage. We're starting to get the plow trucks ready for the winter. It sounds odd, but once 4th of July comes, we start thinking about winter. So we took C11, it's one of our 4-wheel drive trucks, and replaced the rear brakes on them. The rear brakes were gone. Another thing that we did, speaking to like the septic, we didn't know when the highway garage septic tank had been pumped. So we took the decision to have that pumped out. We had no record of when it was done last, but everybody knows we don't want to have a septic issue in the middle of winter, so that was done, no issues there. Our team went on to a 410 schedule, as you guys are all aware, starting on May 19th. We're continuing on the weekly service for the lawn mowers, the string trimmers, and the string trimmers and the chainsaws, all right, because those are being used every day. And again, like I said, we're taking all the wheels off the plow trucks, getting all the salt and debris out of them, inspecting the brakes and the bearings and getting ready for the winter, all right? Moving on to the roads, we installed a new cross culvert on Upper Beachman Road. There was a very small one up there, and it was flooding out that area, so we took the decision to change that. It went very well. We had help from our friends in New Baltimore. We had several water main breaks around with the village of Ravena, and we work well with Lee Vanette and his crew. So we patched the one on Church Street down there. They had probably a month ago, and we took care of that. We also continue to service. We have a few dirt roads in the town. Appleby Lane up on top of Copeland. So we went up there and put some stone and graded and rolled that. We cleaned up the ditch on James Drive. We've been sweeping roads. As you know, the brush chipping has been full effect, also with the leaf bags, and everybody's doing a great job on letting us know when they have brush and you put out the bag, so keep doing that. We also work with the VFW and the Village of Ravena. We hung the veterans banners on May 21st, so everybody can see And that's something that everybody enjoys doing, so we'll continue that tradition. And they'll come down in November. All right? Moving on to parks, all the picnic tables are up and running in place. We had to rebuild a few of them, so they're up and going. The mowing and the weed control is every single day. The cemeteries, between the rain and the grass and the weeds, just out of control. So the boys are doing a good job on that. They spent some time out here today, as this grows, literally overnight, so. We also were involved, and the supervisor knows, with the Valley Paper Mill. So we went and got the bricks, we put them up there, we brought water up there, we brought stone up there. So we were right involved as they were doing that project. And again, I encourage everybody to go up and look at it. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that they did. And I know the supervisor has some plans to maybe have a dedication up there, but it come out really, really nice. So I'm proud to be a part of it. We also cleaned up the ditch at Drollman. If you go there, there was a lot of flooding in that one area. And it's kind of odd because the water starts at the north and it runs to the south by that gate. And it was plugged off for some reason. So we dug that off to try to eliminate some of the flooding on the west side there by the septic system. Seems to be working, but when we get heavy rain, it kind of puddles over there. But we're trying to get it to go to the creek where everybody swims. So.
Yeah, how's that working? Because when we went there, my daughters had the field trip for the second grade. They were playing in that lake.
It's not a big elevation change, so it takes forever.
Yeah.
But when the rain is real heavy, it overdoes it. You know what I mean? But today I was there; it's dry now.
Yeah.
So maybe there's more we could probably do.
It holds a bunch. That heavy rain event, there was a lake with ducks in it.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, in the one rainstorm, I never seen so much water come around the pavilion and come towards the road. I never saw that before. So, like Keith said, there's been a lot of rain. So, cemeteries, we have one full burial and one cremation, both at Grove Cemetery. Yeah, busy.
Dan, quick question. I know we had talked a while ago about this, but down at the Riverfront Park, the electric car charger, I don't think it's working.
No, so I worked with Mr. Fazio on it, and he called, he made some contact. I don't remember, but I think there's some charges that we have to pay.
Okay.
We can follow up with him.
Okay.
But I think it's a matter of calling the company and giving some payment to get it turned on.
Oh.
I think but I'll follow up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I know he made contact with him, and you could probably ask him.
Okay.
Tomorrow when you see him.
Yeah, and I actually kind of wanted to follow up. Tom Sweeney came in the other day, and we were talking about the dedication, and he had said that he had done that before, and they had people parking the cars, because if we anticipate 30 to 50 people, that's a lot of cars and not a lot of space. Picnic tables might have to be moved.
Yeah, there's one there that we can put to the side, because you're gonna have to park on the grass area there. Yeah.
Were you involved in that last time? Okay.
But I mean, if we do it, probably help something. You have to park wherever, you know what I mean? So, just keep me posted, keep me updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And the concerts are going okay. So we got a couple more to go, and then we'll switch down to there. But I can bring them up on the camera and see. There's been a decent crowds. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Any issues with the water filtration system up at Drollman?
No, there's been some knick-knack stuff going on down here with the bathrooms.
Like
Yeah.
vandalism type stuff?
Yeah, little stuff. Somebody tried burning something the other day in there, and there's somebody taking a shower in there. There's somebody eating ramen noodles, throwing them on the floor. Jason Farr is doing a wonderful job. I'm waiting for him to say I quit. It's all the time. You know, he's going there. His frequency is 2 times a week. You know, the out of Drollman, they had 200 disc golfers, and they were complaining on Facebook, shocker, that they ran out of toilet paper. There's only four toilet paper hangers in there. 200 people, so But other than that, it seems fine out there. No issues with the water. I do monthly
Testing.
checks, monthly sampling. Send a copy to Albany County and I send a copy to the town clerk. So it's on record. So we're in compliance with the water. Water fountain's working down there. I'm surprised it's lasted. It's still working. If you want a drink, you can go get one down there. Fill up your water bottle. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, you too.
Highway report for May 2025.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Liaisons, anything to report?
Nope.
That takes us to old business, the village pool.
Just before we get to that, I know there's nothing on for new business, but Candace did send around that email about the pilot program that the New York Association of Towns is going on. Has anybody had a chance to look at that? You know, we should take a look at it and maybe put it on for new business, you know, at our next meeting to discuss as a board.
And what was in there that they're asking for? Was it a training program?
No,
A hiring program?
Association of Towns is collaborating with like a kind of like an Indeed type of thing, but they will help you find employees for municipalities specifically. They're doing a pilot program with them right now, and they still need a few towns to do that. I did pass the information on to Mr. Fazio to probably give them a call, see if it's something we want to do, because right now we post on Indeed.
Right.
But we don't post in the paper because it's actually very expensive to
Yeah.
want it ad in the paper. But maybe if this is something that kind of directs more towards municipalities, maybe it's something to try.
I think it was a good find. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
It's in the talk of the towns that we just got.
Because we're kind of in dire straits with the sewer, it might help get some visibility out there.
Yeah, Steve reached out to you about signing on in Indeed and they wanted to charge him. Did he resolve that issue?
Yeah, they try that, and if you want to have like premium posting, you would have to pay for it. You can override that and still put your ad up without paying for premium posting. So they do still get out there, just considering we don't pay, they don't get top everything.
All right. So in old business, the village pool access. Mike and I had talked to the village today, and we essentially agreed to stick with the agreement that's already in place that renews on the 1st of July, and the town will contribute to the pool, and the village will contribute to the youth services.
And at our meeting, thanks again for meeting with me, Nancy and Linda, appreciate it, Stephen and I. We had talked some questions at our last meeting. We couldn't remember exactly how many town of Queens residents went to the pool or enjoyed the pool for free last year. It was 331. 331 town of Queens residents, and there were 78 passes issued. So, again, if I sort of broke it down to you a little bit. I said, well, are they family passes or are they individual passes? And, if you think maybe a family of 4 and multiply it by how much, a pass for a family would cost that family, I think it was in like the $8,000 or $9,000 range. So, again, I'm not exactly sure what the ratio was, but I think the $7,000 was, in my opinion, money well spent for all of town Queens people to enjoy the pool, especially in these hot summers. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
And I also, and Nancy did provide me with some, some numbers and some information about pool costs and operating costs of the pool, and for last year and the year before. And I made copies for everybody and highlight everything, so I can surely give that to you as well.
Are those actual operating costs or are those budgeted amounts?
Both, they're budgeted, actual.
There's actuals in there? I'll take a look at it. I'll let you know if I have any questions or concerns.
So.
Like, did you say 7,000 or 8,000?
So we're giving, we're giving 7,000 for all Town of Queens people to use the pool, yes. And they're providing 7,000 for, to help us with the youth employment opportunities.
Yeah, we entered into an intermunicipal cooperative agreement last year, July 1st of 2024. And basically it says that the agreement will automatically renew unless either party provides 60 days written notice that they'd like to terminate the agreement or, amend the agreement, and that didn't happen, so.
So I think it's great. I think, I think the people of the town will enjoy the pool, and I think, hopefully we'll have to wait and see. The Ravens Academy, which took over for the Discovery Camp, I'm hopeful and looking forward to see what the school district does with that. And I think we have, how many youth service students? 16, 14 or 16?
We'll have 16.
16 total. So hopefully, they
I
can.
think it was a bit more. We have the applications that we're
Oh,
going
we have
through.
eight. I thought he was asking how many will we employ?
Oh, okay.
Yes,
16.
16.
We essentially got 8 applications from the town, about 6 from the village, and 5 from Selkirk. So you are doing those interviews?
Yes.
Okay.
Next week.
Oh, that's next
Wednesday
week.
and Thursday at the library in the small group room. And we're scheduling them, Linda Palmer and I, yes.
And there were repeating applicants from last year
Well,
too.
we won't, we have, yes, we have repeaters. We have, I believe, 4. Yeah.
That's great. So they're still working for the town.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
They're working.
yeah, it's good. Yes, I'm glad.
How
long are you guys gonna be?
Sorry to.
We're just on
Interrupt.
resolutions and we're
Okay.
done.
How long you think you got, Judge Freeze? I'll wait for it.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Well, let's get burning through the resolutions, Ron. Why don't you take it?
Pretty fast.
Okay.
I Councilmember Hoteling offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Town of Queens Highway Department is in need of hiring seasonal laborers for spring and summer to work in the town parks, and whereas job opportunities were posted and applicants have been received and reviewed, now therefore be resolved that the town board of the Town of Queens is hereby appoint Seth Sprague to seasonal laborer position effective June 30th, 2025 through October 1st, 2025 at a rate of $17.50 an hour.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I, Councilmember Stott, offering the following resolution, move its adoption. Whereas the Town of Queens Sewer Department is in need of hiring a seasonal laborer for spring and summer, and whereas job opportunities were posted, applications have been received and reviewed. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens does hereby appoint Nelson Perry to a part-time seasonal labor position effective June 30th, 2025 at the rate of $17.50 per hour.
Second, discussion?
For discussion, Keith, did Mr. Perry work for you down there previously?
Yes, he did.
All right,
About 3 years ago.
awesome, thanks.
And John Graves the last 2 years.
Okay. Has Mr. Graves expressed any interest for this year?
No, he wasn't up with the time, and then he was, yeah.
Okay.
Just kind of trailed off that. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I, Supervisor Donnelly, offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Whereas the Town of Queens Wastewater Treatment Department.
We're not doing that one,
Oh,
right?
thank goodness. Oh, yep, that's that one.
So we just have the last one.
Do an application, there we go.
No, we're not doing that one either, right?
No, right there.
Nope.
It's the abstract.
Nice. Supervisor Donnelly offer the following resolution and move its adoption. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Queens hereby approves of the payment of the bills as presented in the abstract for June 2025 as follows. Prepaid vouchers 25000918 to 25000933 and 25000935 to 25000988. So we have one from there that we are tabling to have further discussion with, and that is voucher number 25001051
Yeah, so that's not gonna go in prepaid, that's gonna go into the vouchers.
Yeah. So it doesn't affect the prepaid numbers.
Very good. Okay. Prepaid vouchers, so general, $230,077.75. Part town, $34,912.01. Highway, part town, DB, $59,551.19. Sewer, $34,469.41. Trust and agency, $52,399.72. And voucher numbers 25,000,989 to 25,000,1088 from the following funds: general, $71,300.52; part town, $3,012.14; highway DA, $7,259.95; highway part town DB, $4,765.80; sewer, $15,044.85; trust and agency fund, $1,962.50 for a total of all funds.
It'll be less, right?
It's going to be $512,255.84 minus the 20.
Would you please tell me the voucher number
so-
and where it's coming out of?
So it's coming out of B 8020.4 contractual, and voucher number is 25,000,1051.
So the resolution will have to be amended to reflect that the park town total was $3,012.14, is now going to be $512.14 after you subtract the $2,500 deduction.
Thank you.
Clear? Okay. Can I get a second?
Second as amended.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution passes. And that brings us right to upcoming meetings. July 10th is our next town board meeting at 6 p.m. We also have two public hearings that night, one for HUD Section 8 at 6 p.m. and CDBG grant applications at 6:30 p.m. July 14th and July 23rd at 7 p.m. are both PBZBA meetings. Public comment time. If anybody has any comments they'd like to make, please step to the lectern.
Town hall. Have the bids been put out?
I spoke with Jim Clark yesterday and the day before, and he is coming on July 1st to speak with the clerk's office and the code enforcement office, because those two offices are the ones that are going to have vents and lights in outlets that he needs to know exactly where they're going to go in order to move forward, and that will be ostensibly his last meeting here with those two departments, and then we can set out the bid process. I had called him earlier in the week to move it along as quickly as possible. And that's where we landed, is on the 1st of July.
How long does it take for the bids to come in?
4-week process.
30 days is usually the minimum of it has to be out.
Yeah.
And then
How
once they-
long?
30 days.
Once you put the bid out to the paper, you have to give 30 days for them to be submitted.
Okay.
And once they come in on that 30th day, then the board can look at the bids. And usually the engineers will at that point, because they're gonna know more what they're looking at.
Have any idea how long it would take to get things so we can move in?
Yes, there are ideas, there's a schedule, but we are moving the schedule that he had emailed us last month. We're moving that up. We don't want an 8-week process to go out to bid. We want to shorten that up substantially, so that's what we're doing. I guess conservatively, you could say 3 to 4 months of construction, depending. I think it's going to be less.
Why is it taking so long, Steve? I mean, when did we close on this?
The process of choosing the engineering, that took a while. The process of closing, the process of Jim coming back and forth with meetings, it's a process. So it's actually going along pretty speedily at this point. And we are, earmarked to be moving in there.
Yeah, I mean, we're paying, on this mortgage and basically not getting anything.
Yeah, and we have a mortgage.
We don't have a mortgage.
Well, we've got an empty building that we're paying for. We have electric and so on and so forth.
Process is moving along, right along.
Okay, when is the lease for Nolan's building up?
31st of December of this year.
Okay. And the other thing is the trash, I caught trash thing that you had last weekend. I understand it was very good, but nobody knew about it.
It was promoted, and we had, Mike and I were out at the highway, we had tons of people coming there, all three were filled up at the village, Candace.
But I understand that, but a lot of people said, I didn't know anything about it. So is there some way that we can get this out?
It was on the.
It was all over the place, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was on the town website, it was on the Village of Ravena residents website, Facebook website, Facebook page. It was on, 3 or 4 different.
You gotta realize,
Yeah, it was
Mike,
a great response.
not everybody
Yeah.
has a computer. What I was thinking of, the village sign would have been ideal. I mean, that's a thought for next year, because I did have, I'll bet you 6 people, and I know that's not a lot, that said, I didn't know anything about it. So just a thought.
Good idea.
Yeah, and we're floating the idea of actually having another one in the fall, so,
Good. And
because,
when we get a
we
new
have the
building, can we get one of those signs for our building?
yeah, that's a great idea, we can,
That tells-
we're looking into signs right now.
Okay.
We've actually, we're working with the sign people because we have 3 grant applications for Riverfront Park that we have put out.
Mhm.
So, to improve the park, there are 3 separate grants that we have out. One is Albany County, and the other 2 are funding agencies from New York State, are huge $500,000 grants. So fingers crossed that we get those. We did a lot of work going down there. You might have seen me down there measuring and taking pictures with my wife because we did a lot of that work. We volunteered, her volunteer her services as well. So the grants for Riverfront Park, they come through. We really want to build that park up to be something for the residents to enjoy for ages to come. Any more public comment?
Just before we move on,
Sure.
just to follow up on your discussion with Mr. Clark. So you chatted with him yesterday and the day before that.
Yeah.
Did he give you any sort of ballpark as to after he meets with the town clerk and the building department on July 1st, how much longer he's gonna need for those fitting documents to be completed?
Depending on the information that he gets, he'll be able to come up with a determination, but I'm pushing him pretty hard. But he actually, as you know, lives out in central New York, and they had the EF1 tornado touchdown. His home was affected by a lightning strike. Not to give any kind of excuses, he's still pushing along. He really, I was surprised that he kind of glossed over it really easily, because it's a horrible thing to go through. But yeah, we're moving right along with him. I'm trying not to push him too hard, but we're pushing him pretty hard.
Because they did put a voucher in for this month for work that they had done.
Yeah.
So I was just curious. They're billing us, but yet they're not giving us any sort of timeline other than 8 weeks,
He
2
does
weeks
have,
ago.
there is a schedule that's in place. We're modifying that schedule as we speak. So when he comes down on the 1st of July, he'll be able to get a better determination of what he needs when he gets information from the clerk's office and the code enforcement office. And those are the only 2 ones that there's major amount. I think the heaviest lift is the code enforcement office. Clerk's office is pretty standard. Also the mail room and the conference room and the reception area. That's a lot of partitions. Not a lot, 2 partitions going in, but a lot coming out.
And do we know why this hasn't been thought about prior to
What hasn't been thought about?
whatever this delay is with regards to the clerk's office and the building department?
Which delay? I haven't seen the delay. We're moving right along.
We are moving right along, but we don't have any bidding documents yet. And you're saying that he has to come down and do one more conversation, and you're talking about vents and outlets and lighting. So I was just wondering why that wasn't thought about ahead of time.
It was thought about. Jim lays it out in his emails. They're extremely thorough. If you will go back and look through them, you'll see that we're probably on the third schedule, because we keep modifying it, but the last one, my concern was the 8-week time before the bidding process is too long, so we shortened that right up. But he's very thorough, he has all the attachments on there. Actually, we're on, I think, the fourth option. He had sent out 3 sketches.
Yeah. I
On
have
the
them.
fourth one, once we got the clerk's office and the code enforcement offices down, I went back through with him and sketched out, and I said, we don't need to change HR, we don't need to change, and the department heads are good with it. We're gonna keep those the same. Supervisor's office doesn't need to be changed, and the assessor office is essentially removing some sheetrock for that window that exists that they had closed off because it was an X-ray room, and she needs her partition. Reception needs a partition, clerk needs a partition, but all those other offices are gonna go untouched, because option 3, he was essentially touching every wall in the building, and I said, we can't do that. It's not the money, it's the time. So we pushed, I restructured that with a sketch, which, as an architect, he took it pretty well, but he was like, oh, my design. And I go, yeah, that's great, but we don't need to touch these offices. We figured out what we needed to figure out. We have a conference room. We don't need conference rooms in every corner of the room of the building. We have one, let's go. So that'll save us time and money.
Maybe when you meet with him on July 1st, we can nail him down to an actual date that he's going to complete these
Right.
documents.
He'll be meeting with the clerk's office and code enforcement. He said if he has time, he'll stop by and update me. If he has time, I have that other meeting with DEC, so I'm not sure if our paths will cross, but he is very good with sending emails and keeping everybody up to date with what we're doing. William.
So when you guys are talking about the bidding process, it's gonna take about a month. Are you trying to fit this in before the December 31st deadline?
Yeah, I told him, gotta have hammers down at the very latest, mid-December. Hammers down, done. So that might go into overtime with construction, as you well know. But if that's what's gotta happen, that's what's gotta
And
happen.
that's gotta be in the contract also, right?
Right.
It's gotta be in there.
Right.
And, I mean, there could be delays, construction, and then you have to figure out what you're gonna do if there is.
Right.
Because you're renting.
Right, so the reason we have to be done by mid-December is we have to move. So I think the last move from here to there, I think I talked to Linda Ziegler about it. She said it took a day or two, but we really want to have a good cushion for moving everything in. We do have those storage units, so if push comes to shove, we can put some things into the storage units. I don't anticipate we will.
Do you guys still have an idea of the cost of the actual construction, or that's gonna come after?
After the bidding.
But he did say we're close, but we're still looking at like Wick's Law, so under.
No, that's why I took
Oh.
those 3 offices off the table, because I didn't even want to be bumping up against Wick's Law and
Okay.
the deadline the end of December. So that's the urgency.
Are they taking into account that in July is when the unions, they get their new contract and the labor costs go up?
Yeah, that may be a question for Jim. I can ask him that
You
if
know what
you.
I'm saying? Cause that's, they always get their labor costs going up in July. You know that.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that too, because then Jason's gone, but I have, this week, I had earmarked to speak with Jason to start looking at local contractors to get really prepared for when the bids come in to hit the ground running. So we are already looking at, that's why we're doing the cameras, that's why we're going in with security. We already had, we're getting bids for the security doors, in the windows, in the cameras, and how we're gonna centralize that in the mailroom. And Jason's gonna reach out to, well, I'm being presumptuous because I haven't spoken to him yet, but reach out to local contractors. And I actually talked to the assessor about it. She gave me some 2 names. So we're already doing pros and cons of local contractors and reaching out to them even before the bidding process, so we know if they have the time, the space, the employees, and the.
Don't they have to be union?
It's gotta be.
Yeah, we'll meet all contractual or all obligations that we need to meet. But
Whoever wins the bid, they're gonna have to meet that time limit.
yeah,
So.
right. We're right on
Whoever
top.
bids on it's gonna have to say, listen, I can meet this or I can't.
My
What happens if, What happens if you get all three of them and they say, listen, we got all these jobs, then they can't bid on it, correct?
Well, we'll take the 3 bids to people that can do it. I don't know why a construction company would give out a bid and then say, I can't do this.
Well, if they run into, they try to fit in.
Right, so that's the process that we're gonna be working through.
Okay.
I mean, I think the question is what happens when we don't get any bids? Because the construction time period is too intense for them.
I mean,
It's hard to say.
all 3 in
Yeah,
30
no, I
days.
know.
I mean,
You're gonna have to cross that bridge when you get.
But it's something that
It's
we
a
should be
lift
thinking
station.
about.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
hard to say,
It's at the forefront of our office's mind. We, working on this every single day. As well as with the lift stations and the grants.
I did mention to Councilmember Stott that certain offices can't move at certain times. Like once tax season, January 1st, I cannot leave the location that my tax bill says I'm at.
Correct.
So I either have to be by then or you have to wait till April. And the assessor has a timeline as well.
We're working on that too.
I called and let him know, and I think Dawn had already talked to him about that as well.
Yeah, we're on top of it. I can tell you that.
So, couple things. Kudos to you guys in the village for being here for the pool. Mike, you started hinting on, it's real simple, right? Get the pass information from the village. So if you have 100 family passes at $125, it's $12,500. We shouldn't be paying for stuff that we're not using, or we should be paying for what we're using, right?
We get all that.
I mean, it's really easy.
It is that simple.
Yeah, so, yeah, kudos for you guys for working through that stuff, because if there's 500 people, then we have to pay more. That's my 2 cents. Is there any way we can open the pool up earlier, being that it was 100 degrees? Just saying.
Okay, I was told to blame it on the state. The state
Okay.
had to inspect it first, and they did that. They just did that today, and they set the schedule.
Because I was just thinking, man, it's 100 degrees,
Yeah.
it's great.
I wish.
School.
Yeah.
A lot of ours are still in school.
Just a thought. The other thing, I'm disappointed,
Sorry.
Liberty Housing,
Yeah.
okay? They came here, and what did he say? We're gonna preserve the historic value of the building. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Definitely, I know what you're talking about.
We need a pilot, we need to break down our taxes, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. That's the cheapest way
Yeah.
that you could put heat and AC in the building. Then they ran all the line sets down the building, it looks terrible. Now they're painting the line sets, because they're a white plastic,
Right.
they're priming them and painting them. And you guys know how long the paint's gonna last, right? It's gonna look like a zebra.
Yeah, whoever decided to put that as a seniors living apartments in the first place? Because that's an odd choice.
I
That
don't,
was years ago.
I don't know.
It was done
I
by,
don't know. I was here when remember you guys were going back and forth and we were deliberating and trying to do the right thing. And he said, oh, we're gonna do all this. We're gonna preserve the historical nature.
it's awful. It looks awful.
The guy sounds really good. Then I see the splits going in with all this crap going down the side. I'm like, oh,
Terrible.
it's not historical anymore.
It looks awful.
It's a cheap way of, circumventing what they needed to do. Just be aware, right?
Thanks, Dan.
It says we're
I mean,
gonna-
as far as the options go, I'm not sure how 28 seniors were gonna go without heat with a huge
Well,
boiler out front. That was pretty
we need to
unsustainable.
replace the boiler that's in the basement.
They did. I actually went down there a few months ago and took pictures, and I went down there with them, and they have replaced all the boilers. As far as that building goes, I don't know how it was ever chosen for senior housing in the first place, but they do have an idea of building on top of it. And you're right, we need more senior housing. We need more affordable housing in Queens. That's a huge lift, and we got to start working on it in order to do that. And decisions have to be made that aren't ridiculous decisions like, let's take a historical building and turn it into a seniors apartments.
Yeah,
So
again,
whoever made that decision, I don't know. We're just trying to fix and maintain what we have right now.
I'm not knocking you guys. I'm just saying, I remember what they said, and I'm watching the work, and I'm just like, I just feel like we got the rug pulled out from underneath us.
I just remember watching Jan Strasser standing here holding a huge piece of glass going, look what's falling out of the building.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You know, I mean, Lois Rotha and Jan came here from August 2023 all the way into 2024 to every meeting with walkers and canes
I
to
remember.
say,
Yeah.
we don't have heat, our building's falling apart, please help us. So that's why it was first on my list when I came into office, to go right there
Yeah.
and talk to them and see what was going on.
You know, it's such a nice building.
Yeah.
I just remember what the guy said, but that's all. So,
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you,
thank you for.
thank you, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, if there's no further public comment, I'll make a motion to adjourn so that the court can get in here. All in favor? Aye.
Here you go.
Good one.